In prepping and going over the video for urban adventures, and there's a few questions asked and kind of back and forth with Mance and a few folks about, you know, best way to do an urban adventure, how to prepare for urban adventures, things like that, methodologies used in urban adventures. I realized I've never enjoyed urban adventures, which is weird. I wrote 2 games covering urban adventures, Neon Blood, which is a cyberpunk game, and Task Force Raven, which can be urban. A lot of the scenarios you likely fall, devolve into an urban assault. But I realized, like, despite that I don't really like urban adventures, but I never understood why. I was always the person who I prefer to have your party out in the mountains or the forest or the deserts. The Jesus, the Arctic, anywhere outdoors. Dungeons, love cavern explorations, things like that. Well, actually, it's not true. Also leads into part of this. The dungeons, yes. Caverns, I don't know, not so much. The natural caverns are a little weird, but I think part of the reason I don't enjoy urban adventures, and this might have something to do with a lot of gamers who don't like urban adventures. I'm not 100% sure how it is, but I do not. I was not born and raised in a city. I wasn't even born and raised near a city. Near a city was like, Jesus, must have been an hour away, easy. So my childhood was up in up in the high desert of Arizona. So I got to experience high desert, been to the dunes, up in the mountains, forests, running around, all that. Very comfortable in those environments. Cities was never part of my childhood. We'd go every so often, but it wasn't a big thing. And I suspect there might be more people like that who, you weren't really born and raised in a city and not in a suburb or an outskirt of a city. That doesn't count. I'm sorry. I know people will disagree, but being born and raised in Germantown or Bartlett is not the same as being raised in, Memphis proper. So there's these differences, and I think maybe it's because there's a lack of connectivity to the topic, and it might be also why certain people just don't like certain environments in gaming. But I'm still going to work on the thing about urban adventures. So I have some ideas on how to make that a little bit easier psychologically for people like me, and then I'm gonna start gathering some data. That sounds terrible. I sound like Palantir. I want to figure out how people came up and how that has influenced their gaming habits. I think that would be really cool, because finding some information about gamers is a little wonky, but I'm still mulling that over, a best way to go about that. But yeah, stay tuned. Urban adventures and how to not avoid the things you dislike.